I feel like nowadays everyone is trying to sell you everything. Basically, I feel constantly targeted. I feel like I can't go on an app without having a gazillion ads, even on YouTube, which I love, but there's constantly ads on podcasts when you listen. There's always people trying to get your attention, which it makes sense, right? I mean, everyone is here to try and get their stuff out there in the world. So whilst I get it, I think it's extremely important to be super strategic with what you do fall for, like what you think is worth buying at the end of the day, and having some clear boundaries for what you don't want to buy. And I found that, growing up, I'm now 29, so my big birthday, where the first number changes is coming up. And I feel that in these past years, I've really become much better at understanding what I think is worth spending money on for me personally, and where I really don't have a need basically to spend money on certain items or certain other experiences. And the more I've created simple rules for myself, the better it's become to kind of not even have that decision fatigue when it comes to, oh, should I buy this item or should I not? If I know that, before spending, let's say, £50, I always take like a couple of days to let the purchase kind of simmer in and really see if I want it. Then I know I don't even have to make the decision. I know that my rule is, okay, if an item is more than £50, then I'm gonna wait a few days to buy it. And that's made my life much easier. So I thought I would compile a list of, I think it's 19 things that we have, so it's pretty long, of things that I no longer buy and that have helped me a lot with saving money in these past years. And hopefully you guys can get some inspiration. I love watching these videos. I've watched so many throughout the years. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first one is getting my nails done, or any kind of beauty treatment that is not really super necessary, but I could do at home. For example, these are things that I very much enjoy. Don't get me wrong, but especially with the getting my nails done, I mean, you can see, like, I'm not really a nails person. They're very like bare bones, and whilst I do occasionally like to get them done, like as a little pick me up or self-care treatment, if you want to call it that. um it's not something that I want to have as a habit. It's extremely expensive here in London. It's not only getting the manicure itself, which the most basic one costs around like 45 pounds, but then it's also, once you have to remove it, there's an additional charge to get the polish removed. It's just kind of like a vicious cycle. And your nails, I found, they also get much more brittle and weak, and so you don't really want to have them bare after having your nails done, and so you kind of keep continuing to get them done. So anyways, I could continue on this for a while, but I just think it's better. I've just gotten out of the spiral, let's say, for now, and I just basically don't get them done unless it's an event. For example, we did a team event a few weeks ago where the girls in our team, we all went and got our nails done, and it was paid for. So in that case, I'd be happy to do it. But other than that, I don't spend my money on it. Then, the kind of staying on that, the topic of work, number two is buying lunch at work. And this is probably one of the expenses that I no longer have that has had the biggest impact on, the how much I've been able to save or like redirect my spending. If you think about it, a typical like average lunch, I work in the city of London, where a lot of people work. If I go to any of the the vendors around the office, which there's so many of course, because we all work there, so it's a prime spot for lunch vendors. It's at least going to be £12. And if you consider I have to go to the office 4 times a week, so 12 times 8 times like 4 weeks per in a month, that's like hundreds of pounds that I could be spending otherwise, and that I now do spend otherwise, unless it's an emergency, let's say, and I came back potentially very late the night before and I couldn't kind of muster up together a quick lunch. But honestly, like 9 times out of 10, it's extremely easy for me to just arrive back home at night or like in the evening, and just like as I'm preparing my dinner, just set aside a container and put something together for my lunch, and here we have it. Now, I'm not even a cook. Like, you don't need to, like, be a someone that likes to cook or like that is good at cooking to meal prep. I more like compose dishes. My friends actually make fun of me for this, but I honestly find them very simple, very nutritious and healthy, much healthier than you would if you were just to buy something from a vendor outside. And they save me money. So I usually make stuff like salads or bread with something, and I always try to have like a fiber, carbs, all the macros and the main components of a lunch basically. And yeah, so that's been an extremely money saving and life saving hack, honestly. And staying on the topic of food, also, the number three on my list is food deliveries. And what I'm talking about here is stuff like Uber Eats, Deliveroo, like all that jazz. I was never really into it, or like into these kind of services. Where I'm from, it's not really a thing, and even though I haven't lived in my hometown in a long time, it kind of like stuck with me that you don't just order, like either you go to a restaurant or you order. And then I started becoming more of a habit during COVID. Again, not a surprise. I'm sure I wasn't the only person that started ordering a lot during COVID. It's pretty much the only thing we could do. And then as restrictions were easing up, I still found myself, because I was in the habit now of, if I wanted sushi, just ordering a sushi. I kind of continued, ordering more than I would, prior to COVID times. And so, yeah, I decided to scale it back. I don't even have the apps. I don't have Uber Eats. I don't have Deliveroo. I don't have any of those. And honestly, I don't miss it at all. If I'm craving like something, a meal that I haven't prepared, I'm just gonna go to a restaurant, like and do it. Honestly, most of the time, what I'm craving is more like a comfort food. So, a pasta dish that I can just make myself, or something along those lines. So yeah, that saved me quite a bit of money. Kind of getting out of that habit. Number four on my list is having a gazillion beauty products. So buying way more than I can consume and go through. I think that this became a thing for me earlier in my life, when I first started doing my makeup. Must have been like 16, 17. I was in Germany at the time, and that's also when YouTube and the beauty gurus and beauty influencers became a thing. um I remember, yeah, watching like Zoella and Maddie. Oh my god, what was her name? I don't remember her username, but I think she has a kid now. But anyways, all these like beauty bloggers that did all those like makeup routines and their hauls, Sephora hauls, what did they buy? And I was obsessed. I would, go and buy multiple mascaras, multiple eyeshadows. I only ever wore those things for performances, but in my day to day life, I would never just, like wear eyeshadow. Like, why? And so now, in the past couple of years, I would say, well, actually a bit longer, probably. Again, COVID was an inflection point in that, and then in a positive way, because didn't have any reasons to wear makeup and like get ready, right? And I feel like once I realized that, and we went back into more social life, I never quite got back to buying, multiple items, like multiple versions of one item, which is good. And I mean, as you can see, I'm not wearing any makeup. I barely wear makeup. I mean, when I get ready in the day, I literally wear four 3 to 4 beauty products in my day, and that's it. And even of those, I just have the one that I'm using, and then until I finish it, I don't buy any other ones. And that's worked very, very well for me, and I don't miss the optionality or the variety. Number 5 on my list, and we are going through quite quickly, but still we have a lot to cover. Number 5 is shopping at the likes of Zara or H&M, or really any other chain store. Now that I think about it, there's so many of them. And definitely when I was younger and more on a budget, I would love going to H&M and Zara, mainly because also in my original hometown in Italy, we don't have any of these. It's a small hometown, it's a small place. So you don't even have like a Mango or a Zara. So in itself, going to these chains was an event almost. You'd be like, oh wow, like I'm in the big city. And definitely when I moved to Milan and then Germany, I felt that way. But growing up and with age, I've gained more wisdom, and I've really come down to understand that what they say about, buying quality pieces that last you longer is so completely true. Like all these people are onto something, and they're correct. And now, honestly, I mean, I joke about it all the time with my friends and my mom, but Uniqlo should pay me because the amount of clothes that I freely advertise for them is insane. Like at any given point, like chances are most of the items of clothing I'm wearing are from Uniqlo. Like even now, this is Uniqlo. Like my tracksuits, I'm not gonna show you, but they're Uniqlo. Like literally everything I own these days is Uniqlo, and this is because, of course, going to the office 4 times a week. A majority of my clothes is work attire in some way, like business attire, and I found that Uniqlo just has great quality for good prices, very simple minimalistic styles that I've had some of their stuff for like years and years, and they are as good as stylish as they were before because they're not trendy pieces. I mean, they have sometimes trendy collections, but most of the time it's just like stuff that is basic and but nice, great colors. I love their silhouettes. So yeah, and now I also know kind of like the sizes that they carry and which ones fit me. I love that you can even alter the length of the trousers for free at their shops. So it's just much, much better. And another sub rule for me is I don't buy anything that needs kind of like some sort of maintenance, because I know myself, like when I buy shirts, I buy the no ironing shirts. So the ones that like you hang them to dry and they're fine, they're not wrinkled, because I know I cannot iron anything to save my life. I just the process of setting up the iron, whatever, like thingy, the iron board, I don't even know what to call it. It's just I hate it. I don't have time for that in my life. So I know that if I buy those kind of things, I'll just wear them once, wash them, see that I have to iron them, and then never do that and never wear it again. So and also stuff that like needs to be dry cleaned. Oh my god, even worse. Like I need to be able to wash my own stuff and wear it without having to like make my life more difficult. So I just don't buy that kind of stuff if that's the case. Number 6 on my list is organizing items, even though they look so freaking pleasing to the eye. All those like little knickknacks and like containers for things. They look so good and so Instagrammable. Um, as much as my brain loves them, and I love the aesthetics, I just if they're yeah, I'm not in a place in my life where I can invest or I want to invest in these type of things. I'm renting, right? This is not my home, the one that I live in. So just spending money on all these things that to elevate your space whilst is nice. And I have some of them, don't get me wrong. It's not just like I don't have any sort of like aesthetically pleasing not necessary items. But yeah, it's just like containers for things that could have just stayed in their own container that they came in, like spices, things like these. I have better purpose for my money. Number 7, I believe, is restaurants every week. So going to a restaurant every week. Now, don't get me wrong, I go out quite a bit. I mean, I think definitely more than the average person, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so it's not like I don't go out. Actually, it's one of the things that I enjoy probably the most about living in a city as well, like the optionality, the infinite restaurants that you could try and different cuisines that you can try. You can kind of travel to Ethiopia, going to an Ethiopian restaurant in London, which, if I try to do that in, again, my hometown, or even like in Florence, which is, again, my second hometown in Italy, and it's a big city by, many standards, there is nowhere near the same variety and optionality that you would get in London. So that's why I love, being here. However, I do think that in the past, I think this was especially post COVID, once we went back into reality, we went back into normal life. I was going out like a lot, kind of like to make up for lost time, which I think, it's normal, makes sense, but it was getting excessive. And if you know anything about London, you know that prices are absolutely extortionate. They will charge you, like, margins are crazy, markups are insane. So yeah, it's not just like, okay, let's go to the McDonald's, because I also like nice food. So when I go to like a place where I'm at least gonna spend, I don't know, 70, 80 pounds, right? So whilst I'm happy to do it, and honestly most weeks I will go, I try to not go more than once per week, which doesn't mean that I don't, see my friends, for example, because that's the thing, right? Like, it's such a sociable activity. It's such a great thing to do with your friends. But I try to, if I've gone once, let's week this past week, for example, I went for dinner with a friend on Monday, right? A weird night to go on a dinner with a friend, but that's what worked out. So because of that, I've kind of used my one restaurant per week card, let's say. And so, yesterday I saw some other friends and we went for a walk instead. Went to the cinema, went for a walk, but we didn't just go to the restaurant, which would have been instead the default option, let's say. So yeah, it's just a little bit of a way to control this spending category, because it's something that I know that I would love to spend like a lot of money on. And so if I don't have some sort of like boundary or rule for myself, it's very easy for me to go overboard and like spend a ton of money, maybe more than I would want, right? To spend on just that item alone. Because it's true that it adds to my life, but also there are so many other things that I would want to spend my money on. So yeah. Then number 8 on my list is, multivitamins or multiple like knickknacks for your health. I'm really trying to just, keep it simple. I have a few things that I buy in that department. Like, I have a wheatgrass powder thing. I buy um protein powder. I just have 2 protein powders from Ewell that I've had for a while, and yeah, I'm just gonna use them up. I just like to top up my breakfast, for example, with that. Get some extra protein. I don't need meat, so that helps with me. But other than that, I'm really trying to stay clear from all the like infinite options when it comes to optimizing your health, right? And just sticking to the basics and keeping it simple, making sure that I get my vitamins from food instead. Which ties me to my number 9, which is going to the grocery store. Now, this is maybe controversial. I don't know, because people always say, oh, if you order your groceries online, like, you're going to spend more. And maybe that's true. But for me, I actually found that ordering my groceries online, so through an app, actually makes one, saves me time, which is very important for me with the kind of life that I have. But two, more importantly, it kind of helps me with like preventing me from buying stuff that I don't actually need. Because if like those apps that they use, even though they try to make you buy stuff that you don't need, but like for me, it's not like I'm scrolling through, I don't know, like Amazon, or like Temu, one of these websites where it's very easy to be lured into buying something. Like, groceries for me, they don't really have that same appeal. If I'm just gonna, I have my items for the week, my staples for the week that I buy, I just get in the cart and then check out. Whereas if I'm in the actual physical grocery store, I see something. First of all, I peruse every single aisle, right? So I randomly will find myself in the exotic aisle section, and I'll find like this tamarind paste that looks amazing, and then I'll find myself buying it for £5, and otherwise I wouldn't even have come around this tamarind paste had I been buying through the store instead, sorry, through the app. Number 10, and I'll try and speed up, animal products or vegan specific products. So I'm not vegan, and if I go out in a restaurant at a restaurant, I will likely have fish. I'll say I don't eat meat. I'm pescatarian by definition. So it's not like I don't eat those products at all. But as I said before, I don't cook. I can't really cook, and I don't have the time to cook, even if I was good at it. So for me, buying these products, at the store is super expensive anyways. Like, if you try and and buy like a salmon fillet, that's gonna cost you like 10 quid. I'm not even joking. So I know, even though I might eat it, I know I don't have the time to cook it. I don't want to cook it. I wouldn't like cooking, fish anyways. So when I grocery shop and throughout the week, I mainly end up eating vegan anyways, because I find it's like the simplest things to prepare. It's very healthy. I like the taste of it anyways. And yeah, it just saves me money as well in the process. So it's a win-win for me. But I also try and avoid like vegan specific products, like all those, the patties and the vegan cheeses, just because again, they end up being quite expensive. There's a big markup on those. And also they're not super healthy. Like it's just a bunch of processed things. So it just helps me overall. So I just try to stick to whole foods instead. Number 11 is alcohol, and that's a big one. And I kind of want to do a separate video on this. Now, I'm not sober, but I've drastically reduced the amount of alcohol that I consume and buy. For example, I would never buy myself a bottle of wine or like a beer to just have and drink by myself. Um, and if I go out, I was saying before how I try to stick to one restaurant meal per week. Same with alcohol. So the first rule that I have is I never drink during the week, on weekdays. And then number two is there's going to be only one day per week maximum. I mean, ideally not even that, but maximum where I drink. And normally it coincides with when I'm going out for a restaurant, that weekly meal that I have. Normally I'll end up drinking as well, unless it's on a weekday. But honestly, I'm even exploring going sober for a little while, just because it's really not good for you. And I had a big night just a couple of days ago, and honestly, like the day after, the Saturday, because it was a Friday night, the Saturday was like not fun, like I wasn't feeling good. All this sort of like anxiety, so the anxiety from hangover was coming through. You're not really in control of yourself. Yeah, and it's also like from a health perspective, it's not good. Like I felt like shit, to be honest. So yeah, just trying to reduce that as much as I can. So number 12, I'll be quick with these. Expensive gym sets. I love them. I love a good set. They make me want to work out more. But at this point, I've accumulated quite a few of them already. So I really want to make sure that I get to wear those, kind of wear them down, and then I will buy new ones instead of like just keep stocking up. Now I'm at a point where like I have enough options, so I don't feel like I'm always wearing the same ones. So I'd rather, make sure that they get loved as much as they can, they serve me, and then I'll buy new ones. Number 13 is plastic water bottles. Nowadays, I always have a water bottle with me. I'll show you actually. So this is my massive 2 liter bottle. I don't really carry this around that much. I do bring it with me to work, which is funny. I'm now the girl with the water bottle, basically. But I've done this now for 2 years. It's helped me massively. With making sure that I drink 2 liters per day. But then also when I'm out and about, I don't carry that one, but I will still try and remember as much as I can to bring my a more normal size, like a chili water bottle or one of those. And it's really helped me with, not buying plastic bottles. Now, is that a huge saving? No, right? I mean, of course, it will compound over the course of my lifetime, but it's mainly also for the environment, right? It's just not good to be buying, those plastic water bottles. So if I can help a little bit, then I'll do it. Number 14 is a bunch of subscriptions. Now, I do have a lot of productivity subscriptions. For example, ChatGPT, I paid a 20 quid per month. Canva, I pay for Pro. I have a few other ones for YouTube and a few other ones for kind of like self-development. I pay for Real Vision, which is that crypto platform. I'm pro there, pro tier. But I'm really trying to slow down when it comes to entertainment subscriptions. So I do have Netflix, I do have Spotify, but I used to have, Disney, I used to have Amazon Prime, I used to have Audible, like all these additional ones. And I've, scaled it down quite a lot and really try to be as simplistic with those as I can. Number 15 is workout shoes. I should have bundled that with the gym sets, but hey ho, here we are. Workout shoes, I've had the same pair for literally 3 years. Now, I'm not a runner, so I think if I were, full-time runner, it would be different because I would wear them down much more. But I only do, HIIT training. So there is a running component, but it's not like kilometers and kilometers. So that's probably why. Having said that, it might be time now to upgrade to a new pair. But I'll just do that when they're literally falling down, like there's not good for me anymore. So I will buy them new. But for now, honestly, I've stuck with the same ones. I wash them so they're clean, and it's been going great. So I don't find a need to like have the newest, coolest pair of workout shoes. Number 16 is seasonal decor. It kind of goes back to one of the previous items when I said that, I'm not in a stage of my life right now where investing a lot in like house stuff and decor, etc., makes sense for me. Again, I don't own this house, I just rent it. And I'm barely even here, to be honest, between travel and, work and things like these. So I just keep a minimalistic decor. I don't buy any seasonal stuff. Like I don't buy Christmas stuff, I don't buy Halloween, like Valentine's, like I don't even think about it. And even for Christmas, the most that I'll do is I'll swap out some of the candles, I'll just bring out some more like seasonal candles basically. But other than that, I just keep the same, staples, and that's about it. Number 16 is Amazon shopping. Now, Amazon is great, but it's also so treacherous and so freaking dangerous. So one way that I found that helps me control it is I deleted the app from my phone, which increases the barrier, and the friction for me by quite a bit, because it's one thing to just have the app and you go and you find something and you buy it, you order it in like literally a couple of minutes. So instead, I now use the laptop, the website version, which already makes it more hard. And then I just try to limit how much I reach for Amazon in itself. Is there like another option that I can use to order, that said item that I need? And as a last resort, will I go on Amazon and actually, find that item that I'm looking for in there instead? Number 18, second to last, is morning daily Pret coffee. Now, just around the corner from my office, there is a Pret Manger that is so convenient. And I got into the habit a couple of years ago of just like every morning, basically, I would walk in, get one, on my way to work, and, go on my merry way. But when you do the math, is a matcha or a nice coffee, that's £5. You go in 4 times a week, that's 20 quid per week. Already 4 weeks per month, that's 80 quid that are just gone like this for something that honestly I found the way that I replaced this and kind of made up for this ritual, really, because it's really more of a habit, was to buy an espresso machine. My espresso machine is very simple. It cost me 80 quid up front, but I've had it for a year now, so that's already kind of paid off tenfold on that upfront investment that I made. And so I found that it was less about the taste itself and more about the routine and the habits. And I've found a cheaper way for me to recreate it at home. And yeah, so I kind of stepped out of this costly habit. And finally, number 19 is actually returning things that I won't use or need. Now, we've all done it. You maybe have like even like a free return policy or something like this, but you buy something, it doesn't fit the way you thought it would, it doesn't look the way you thought it would, and then you'd never actually end up returning it. It just sits in your closet with the tag attached, and yeah, you just never wear it. It's super frustrating. I used to do that all the time. And now, honestly, I don't know, I just like remind myself, I just put the item like in the way. Basically, I don't store it away, but like I leave it, let's say, on the sofa next to me or something like this, to make it more inconvenient for me to have it. And so that really prompts me to want to like get rid of it, like return it and make back the money, girl math, right? So yeah, so that's been a simple thing that I've done that has changed, the way that I kind of like think about items and spending, and it's been super helpful. I've blabbered on enough, so I will leave you now, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.